What's up, guys? So let's go over the markets going into this week. We'll take a look at the indexes here. So we've got a few themes popping up as of last week. We're going to run through each of those after we go through the indexes. But first things first, um, something that I've been looking for since pretty much the daily 200 was I was looking for a bounce um, and a reversal trigger to the upside. Okay. So what does that mean? If you notice, and I go in, take this drawing tool. So if you notice on this whole entire decline, each time, so here that we tried to pop above the previous day's high, we have failed. So there's one example here. There's two. Um, let's see, is that so high is 503.63. 50, nope, didn't get that one. And then there we failed again. So there was three separate occasions where we failed to break above and close above the high. So here we actually did on Friday. So one other thing that I was noticing, so that's the first piece, is that on this entire decline, we had the squeeze fire off to the downside right here. And then we got this continuation down, 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 down. And we had momentum continuing to the downside the entire time. Then what we had was now we've got the first shifting bar of momentum. So that might signal a short-term bottom. Okay. So I'm not looking for anything crazy here. I'm just simply looking for, can we make a move back to the 221 EMA? So that would be roughly probably a move to 495-ish, right in this area. So that's all I'm looking for. We are at 2 ATR. And so on this day, once we had this big puke, I said, I'm no longer going to be pressing the short side. You can follow the signals, which I believe it was actually a sell signal that worked out pretty well on the 30-minute. Um, right here, we had a sell signal, and then these sell signals, which took us into support. But once we got down to here, I'll go back to QQQ. Once we got down to here, I kind of said, all right, I'm not going to keep trying to press the short side. We are at -2.5 ATR. Most of the time, that is a cause for mean reversion. So I decided to stay out of the market and just sit and wait. But right now, what we're seeing is you can see we're starting to see some bullish action showing up here. So um, once we had this decline, we've started to trade sideways. We had this push up, came down, took out this low, which is seems to be like it's looking like it's going to be a liquidity grab. We gapped up and continued higher, which I think we caught a lot of short people that are short off guard. Um, so they were not prepared for that. And we saw this pretty decent volume pop. Didn't take out the prior days, but it was above average volume. So, but we have had a ton of above average volume in all through in here. So if we go over and we look a little bit more, so the put call became more neutral. We were shooting at 0.65 when we opened up. So I didn't think that was going to give us the juice that we needed to have a pretty big rally, but it gave us enough to where we could finish near the highs of the day. It looks like SPY finished off the high of the day by $1. So pretty good push there. So going into looking at SPY, same story, same idea as the QQQ chart. What you'll see is we have this momentum shift here, here, here across all the indexes. So we have the confluence of a potential bounce at -2.5 ATR. So this is just a good reference point to have on your charts that comes with the indicator that's going to tell you, okay, there might not be much more downside if I'm trying to day trade the downside. So what you can see here is we're printing the same signal here where we broke above the high of the low bar, and we're printing that across all indexes, which is pretty bullish. Lower volume on the Dow, so I'm not too interested in that one. IWM showing some pretty good volume here. You can see the volume here preceded all these other ones, so that may be good for growth in the coming week. So we can certainly pay attention to trade it to the upside for potential longs here. So I'm not saying I'm bullish overall, but I am saying that I think that we are leading into a short-term bounce, and I think that's going to bring each of, well, the SPY and QQQ to the 200, which the 200 here is 572. So 10 points higher, 2% higher on SPY. For QQQ, it's almost 3% higher. So I am looking for that bounce. The idea is becomes invalid when we break below the previous low. So that's what I'm looking for here. And then IWM actually will want to pay attention to that because that might be giving us a setup that I was not seeing. Now, what's interesting is that preceding this, you can see that the VIX came up and hit 2.5 ATR. But notice this, what happened? We had this sell signal here and we reverted to the mean. And now we're getting the buy signals here. So they usually move inversely, but I think that um, that's what this is leaning towards, in my opinion, that we're probably going to see a bounce here in the near future. So that's what I'm paying attention to. That's what I'm keeping an eye on. And this week, I'm looking for some bullish action that's going to take us uh, back into the 21 EMA. So that's it. That's it for the indexes. For which one should we focus on going long? Well, if you look at the scores here, we have a -3 on SPY, -6 on, or -5 on QQQ, and I could make these bigger. This is just a little small for my eyes. -8 and then -8. So best performing one right now is SPY, followed up by QQQ, and then the Russell, and then the Dow. Okay, so I'm gonna fix that back real quick. OCD. Okay, so there you go. So the ones to focus on are to the left here, and then kind of hold off on these ones for now. And so focus on potential longs on a mean reversion. So what would we do here? We can trade relative strength names. So let's take a second. Let's take a look at the VIX on a bigger picture. So if we look at the VIX, we had this mean reversion that we just discussed. But what you need to notice here is that each time we've gotten above this level here, we have came back down to uh, $15. So personally, except this time. So we had one. Well, we didn't get there that time. So we had one where it brought us back to 15. One brought us back to 15. Two brought us back to 15. Three brought us back to 15. So anytime we touch that 23.50, it seems we're coming back to 15. So four, and then these other times we did not get it, but we did get back to 15 each time. Um, so what I'm expecting now is, can history repeat itself? I think we'll at least go test 20. That's my opinion. So these are kind of all the confluences that I'm looking for that we may see a bullish bounce here this week. Okay, so now when we're looking at these stocks that I'm keeping an eye on, here are the ones that I'm watching. So the themes specifically that I've noticed when I was running my scans and that I've been teaching in the mentorship. So the ones that I've noticed are financial services. So and the subcategories within this would be insurance and brokers. And so two things that tie into it, a number of these ones are Chinese stocks. Okay. So we're going to get into this a little bit. And then also insurance stocks are also showing up, some cybersecurity, and then a couple gold stocks, and then aerospace and defense stocks. So we'll start with this is my favorite setup going into next week. This is an aerospace name. So this RTX and EH are two aerospace names. This RTX has a 4 hour setup, and I talked about this in the chat some. This has a 4 hour buy signals here, and so I'm looking for, can we potentially get a move higher here on this one? It's holding a 21 EMA really well. We traded it sideways for a while, and it looks like we're starting to break out. And then EH, I think this one looks pretty solid. You can see we've got a little bit of downside trend line. We just had earnings, and it was a pretty nice surprise beat. So it looks like we have come out of this range and now are potentially trying to break out into a stage two out of this range. So I think this could be a pretty solid opportunity to go long. You can see we're continuing to build higher lows here on the bigger picture, but this looks like a break and retest with a buy signal and a flag. Buy signals on the 4 hour, the daily score 53, very solid chart. RTX also in the aerospace uh, and defense. This one looks good as well. We've got buys on the 4 hour, 45 out of 70, so solid chart. And then we'll run through, I guess we'll run through the less prominent themes, and then we'll run through the most important themes that I'm seeing. So the second other one that's kind of least important, that doesn't have as many setups, or well, should I say, that has more so ran so already, uh, is KGC. This one is the only one that I think has a good risk to reward entry at this point. You can see here we've had weekly buy signals. So if you can get in here and you can catch a move up into 1265, so almost 10% move. And this has daily buy signals as well. If you can get it closer to support, maybe 1150 or closer to the 21 EMA, that'd probably be a good entry. But gold did have a nice daily buy signal here, which triggered the move up into 3000. But gold right now is at its weekly. It's expanded a little bit. So it's nearing its weekly 2.5 ATR. But I think like gold and silver actually had nice setups going to this week. And we talked about this in the weekly watch list last week. Um, Silver had buy signals. I think silver is just getting started here. You can see we had buy signals in the buy zone and then had a nice move up after. So that's really the only gold stock that I have on the list. And then as for a couple cybersecurity, so that would be GRRR and then CHKP. Now CHKP looks good. Buy signal within the entry zone on high volume. Earnings decent bit away, but it had that nice gap up after earnings, trading sideways and holding up. So I think this one could trade into 235. GRRR actually does have better fundamentals. Big volume coming through on this day here, breaking through 30. So if you get a pullback entry closer to 30, then have your stop below these lows here at around 25, I think that could give you a really nice move up into probably a new high. So keep an eye on this one. This is probably one of my favorite ones up here. And then Aflac, this is a leading name in this industry group. So if you go look at this, so this is the insurance names. So what we just went over was cybersecurity, and now we're looking at insurance names. So if you look at Aflac, it's got weekly buys, came down, liquidity grab at the 21, holding well. You look at Allstate. This has weekly buy signals as well. You look at PGR, it's already started to take off. And then Goosehead Insurance has weekly buy as well. So a number of these names are setting up. It's interesting, so I want to keep an eye on those. And then MMM, I'll probably take that one off. SMMT, so this is pretty speculative. Let me check the fundamentals on this one real quick. See if they're making any money. Or let's see. Yeah, no, this is not a very strong. So this is highly speculative. So they had a nice run up. It's got weekly buy signals. So there's a chance this could break out, but this is probably my least favorite setup out of all of them. So, but it does have weekly buys, so you can keep an eye on that one. And then when we go to lastly is so Chinese names. We run through a few of the Chinese stocks. We've got Futu um, with a daily buy with a 4 hour buy. Then we look at JD.com. This one has a daily buy, which looks pretty solid. This one also has weekly buy signals as well, um, or did back here. And then if we look at Baba, this one here has 4 hour buy signals. Um, KWeb, the ETF, has a daily buy signal. And nope, just daily and 2 hour buy signals shown down here. Um, but so there's multiple Chinese financial services stocks showing up. So I want to keep an eye on those. So Futu is the leading one, and I would like to pick up this one. It finally got through its earnings. Looks like it was a positive reaction. Revenue was a surprise beat. Earnings was a surprise beat. We've got an entry zone buy signal, so I want to see if I can pick this one up and look for a potential new high off of this cup and handle. So this is probably my favorite setup going into this week and my main focus. Another one that could move with this is also a Chinese name and it's also deals within the ETF space, or sorry, the financial space within like Chinese brokerages is TGIR. This one has a nice weekly buy signal. Chart looks solid. Uh, and I think that it's got earnings, so we'll have to see what's up after earnings. But that's the other one that I'm watching. So those are the kind of the themes that I'm seeing. So we've got financial services, and under that would be the brokers, which is Futu, TIGR, and TradeWeb. This one's got a daily buy signal, or sorry, weekly buy signal. Chart looks really solid. The weekly buy signals back in here paid really well. So I think this looks great for a breakout up into probably 150-ish. So keeping an eye on that. And then so those are all the names. This is my watch list for this week, and I'll continue to adjust as needed. But we've got the financial service stocks, specifically brokers, and then we've got uh, insurance stocks under that as well. So those are two subcategories under financial services. And then we've got the Chinese names, which we've kind of got two themes within one when you're looking at like names like Futu, TIGR. They're both Chinese names and they both are under those financial services spots, those brokers. And then we've got cybersecurity, we've got some gold and silver stocks, and then we've got the aerospace and defense. So if I had to give you my top two picks, I would say Futu and EH are my top two picks here, and then Aflac. And then so like basing off of these names or the themes here, this is how I'm going to sort it. I put that there, I'd put that there, I'd put that there, and then here's my top ones right here. So TW, Aflac, GRR. This looks has is seeing some crazy buying, as you can see off the weekly chart. And then Futu and EH. So I hope this helps. Thank you guys for watching. Let me know if you have questions. Like I said, looking for a bounce this week. We'll see if we get it. Could be completely wrong, and then I got to change the game plan. But hope this helps. Thank you guys, and I'll talk to you soon.